matter of Kurtz versus Mansfield. Step forward, please.
Engineer Andrew Kurtz is suing teacher Carolyn Mansfield for car repair bills. Andrew says Carolyn's unleashed dog ran into his Porsche.
Mr. Kurtz, you were driving along a country road, and according to your complaint, the defendant's dog was running out and hit your car. And you want Miss Mansfield to be responsible for the $1,000 deductible that you had to pay after your insurance covered the rest of the damage to the car.
That's correct.
Miss Mansfield says that you had to have been going too fast on that road, that your car hit her dog, and that she paid over $1,200 in vet bills for the dog. And since you were probably each at fault, since the dog was out, which is how the dog came to collide with your car in the first place, she's taking care of her bills and you should take care of yours, right?
That's absolutely right.
Well, that's your position anyway.
Yes, well, it is my position.
Where do you live?
I live in Placerville, California.
Are there any rules and regulations where you live with regard to dogs being leashed or being confined in either a yard or your home?
I understand there is a leash law. There's supposed to be.
Yes. So your dog, I assume, does not comply with the leash law.
My dog complies whenever she can. However, there are some holes in my neighbor's fence, and occasionally the dog has gotten into the neighbor's yard. On the day in question, I did not know the dog was out of our yard. In fact, my husband and I were getting ready to go to a Christmas party. It's December 21st, about 4 o'clock, and I turned to my son and I said, "We're getting ready to go to the party now. See you later." And Charlie said, "Well, I'm going out to the backyard to play with the dogs." And I turned around, I saw one of our...
How many dogs do you have?
Two. And I saw
what
one
kind of dogs are...
Pardon?
What kind of dogs are they?
They're mutts. They were both strays that eventually showed up, and we just didn't quite get them to the pound, and now they're ours.
And how long have you had them?
7 years.
And how often does this particular dog get out of your yard?
Well, anymore, not at all, but...
Then,
at that time, pretty often.
Okay. So you were on notice that your dog knew how to get out.
But my dog, this is the truth, Judge Judy, my dog was extremely streetwise. I know that sounds crazy, but this dog had grown up, had about 2 years in this area. It was a wild dog. We had seen it around, and I decided to try to tame the dog so that I could catch it. Animal control would not pick it up unless we could contain it. So over a period of about 6 months, I was able to tame the dog, and by then I just kind of fell in love with her. She has absolutely become a part of our family, and this dog never ran into the road or in front of a car. The dog would literally go to a driveway and look both ways before it crossed. People would note that. It's incredibly smart, or it couldn't have survived the 2 years in this neighborhood where people would come up from the Bay Area in their fancy sport cars driving really fast.
Miss Mansfield, listen to me very carefully. We're getting a little beyond ourselves.
Okay, but I have some pictures for you.
We're getting beyond us. Now, what time of the day were you riding down the country road?
It's 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
Where were you going?
Going to an apple orchard.
In December?
Shh. Miss Mansfield.
Yes,
Miss Mansfield. Okay.
Is the weekend before Christmas. We were going up there to get some apple cider and some apple pies.
Okay. Tell me what happened with Miss Mansfield's dog.
I was driving along the road, and the dog just came straight out into the road, and it was in full stride when I hit the dog with the car.
Did you stop?
Yeah, I just took my foot off the gas and watched the dog in the rearview mirror. My fiancée, Christina, was just like, oh my God, we just hit a dog. And then I pulled over at the first point that I could pull fully clear of the roadway.
And what did you do? Put your pictures down.
Okay.
We got out of the car and walked back towards where the dog had limped off the roadway, and I walked back into the woods. At that point, I met an old man and a young boy there. I asked them if they saw a dog. I told them I just hit a big black dog, and he said that it sounded like the neighbor's dog, and then we found it just laying on its side.
And what did you do?
The man sent the young boy down to the Mansfield's residence to get someone to come up to the dog. We just stood there with the dog, and it was just laying on its side, panting. And then Charlie, her son, brought a pickup truck up, and we put a blanket down, put the dog on the blanket, and lifted the dog into the back of the truck.
Okay. Can I see pictures of your car? I see that you have pictures of the car there. I'm surprised that what's this dog's name, Lucky?
Lucky.
He sure was lucky.
Well,
because I'm surprised that this dog survived.
Lucky was not supposed to survive overnight. She had severe injuries.
Okay, but she did?
She's among the land of the living.
Good, and she's now in a fenced-in yard.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're using the buried wire with the electric shock, and she's
That sounds like what you should have been using before.
And that's exactly why I paid my own vet bills, and I decided I would not sue somebody for hitting the dog because I was trying to take my responsibility and pay the dog's vet
Ms.
bills.
Mansfield, you have a law where you live that says that dogs have to be under your control at all times, either on a leash if they're out, in a fenced yard, or in your home. But for the fact that you broke the law, your dog would not have been hit.
Mm-hmm. May I show you some of these pictures and explain one thing?
You can show me anything you like.
Okay.
You must accept the fact that but for the fact that you broke the rules, your dog would not have been hit.
Okay, but I contend the dog may not have been in the road. We have a friend who was killed right there where Mr. Kurtz pulled over. He ran right into that tree. If you don't negotiate that turn, you're going to hit that tree. And in fact, before you hit it, you will go straight over our neighbor's driveway where the dog needs to lay down.
Miss Mansfield, I don't care if he went up into your neighbor's living room.
But that would be private
property. Listen to me.
Okay.
If he went up into your neighbor's living room and hit your dog, the rule says your dog must be under your control at all times. But for the fact that you, who had notice that your dog got out frequently and roamed around and was safe most of the time. Most of the time, she was really smart and really lucky. Didn't hurt anybody, didn't get hurt herself. This time she did, and it's your fault.
Okay,
listen to me. Only your fault because his car did not jump up on your front porch and go into your living room and hit Lucky while she was sitting on the sofa watching TV. That didn't happen.
Excuse me, but if it was going at an unsafe speed in a residential area, it could have been Dylan. It could have been the little boy at the end of the driveway with my dog.
It could have been E.T.
But it wasn't.
It was your dog that was violating the law. You owe him $1,000. That's his deductible.
Could my son,
Judgment for the plaintiff. Step out. Goodbye.
Thank you,
Thank you, Judge.
Occasionally dogs get out. If people are driving the way they're supposed to, they should be able to stop.
The dog has to be on a leash or you're going to be liable for the damage that it causes.
My dog suffered great injuries.
It's a tragedy what happened, really.
I spent 3 months doing physical rehabilitation on the dog.
It's been a lot of time and from my side, too, and money.
I couldn't work. I mean, I had to work with this dog for 3 months to get it back to life.
It was very scary.
I just think she deserved a little more justice than that.
I felt awful. Awful for the dog.
Michael Caraselli is suing business owner Mac Brame for misrepresenting the sale of a jet ski on eBay. Mac says it's Michael who is trying to run a scam.
Quiet in the courtroom, please. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 521 on the calendar in the matter of Caraselli versus Brame. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Caraselli, according to what I've read in your complaint, you responded to an eBay sale of a jet ski.
Yes, ma'am.
That was placed by Mr. Brame. And you traveled to where he was, you purchased it, and when you got the jet ski home, you had it examined by someone who told you that it was not functioning. It had been immersed in water and it was not usable. You then stopped payment on the check that you gave to Mr. Brame. Mr. Brame subsequently contacted the authorities. You were arrested and you made an agreement that you would pay out the $1,700 or the $1,800 that you had agreed to pay because it was under threat of going to jail. Now you want that money back, plus punitive damages because you say you still can't use the jet ski. In addition, according to you, Mr. Brame didn't even have title to the jet ski, which he couldn't pass on to you, and you still don't have the title.
That's correct.
Mr. Brame says you're the scam artist. Okay. So, may I see the ad that you answered, please, sir?
Your Honor, I'm not sure if it gave you.
You want to take a look at this and see?
I was just wanting to. I knew how many pages there were, and you don't have them all.
Let me ask you what you have.
Mine are also in color that show the damages pretty well to the jet ski.
Okay. Let me tell you what I see here, Mr. Caroselli, before we get going. According to your complaint, let me see if I can find your exact words. This vehicle I paid over $1,800 for, according to you, quote, was virtually worthless and would cost over $1,800 to bring up to running condition. The eBay notice said the engine was in perfect condition and looked like new. That's what you say. But that's not true, sir. Let's look at the documents that you gave me. The first thing it says here, this item is being sold for a friend.
Yes, ma'am.
So that would have given me cause to pause right away. Why isn't the friend selling it? Why is he selling it? So you knew immediately, based upon this, that he was not the owner. Then you say that it was in like new condition, looked like new, the engine was new, but that's not what it says, sir. It says, and he clearly says, I've tried to show this thing in the worst and best condition. It was banged up against a dock, doesn't look good. He says, I have not heard the jet ski run. The battery is dead. The engine looks like new and is most likely in perfect condition, but there are no guarantees. That's very different from saying the engine is new.
Yes, ma'am.
What this man is saying to you, to a reasonable person, is, don't buy this jet ski. It's dead. I haven't heard it running. It probably is good. The engine looks good because it's clean, and there are no guarantees. So he sold this to you as is.
Yes, ma'am.
With that in mind, now you can tell me that when you got it home, what did you do?
First thing I did was bring it to a mechanic. And let me just back up by saying we talked about the condition of the jet ski. The body was understood. It was in physical bad condition. That wasn't in dispute. I wasn't.
I know we're not talking about that, sir. Just get over to the next point. The next point I made to you is sold with absolutely no guarantees. That's what he says here, and you purchased it that way. So you got it home, you had it looked at by a mechanic, and the mechanic said it's worthless. So what happened next?
Well, I brought it to the mechanic, and it wasn't that the engine was in bad shape. This apparently was underwater and sunk, which he did not tell me about. That was the basis.
Just a second. He said, I don't know anything about this jet ski. I'm selling it for a friend.
I understand that.
That's what this said.
This was somebody that he knew. He had information about the jet ski. I felt that selling something as is and that he didn't run it was different than knowing that the ski had been turned over and was submerged in water.
Now, do you have any proof that Mr. Brain knew? Stop playing with your paper, sir. It's irritating.
I'm sorry.
Knew that the jet ski had been submerged.
I don't have any personal knowledge of that other than when I opened up the compartment for the seat, the engine compartment was totally clean. It was coming from a friend of his, and he was representing the jet ski.
No. He wasn't representing anything. My question to you is, do you have any proof that he knew that this jet ski had been submerged?
I don't have any personal knowledge of that, ma'am.
That's it. So what did you do?
I stopped payment on the check immediately because I figured he felt he knew. My feeling was
I don't care what you felt.
Okay.
I don't care what you want. Your feelings go elsewhere.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a court.
I called him immediately to say that I'm stopping payment on the check because I brought it to the mechanic the next day. I called him that day and left him a message.
Okay.
And told him that the check was not going to clear. I was putting a stop payment. And what did he want to do?
He's lying, Your Honor.
Don't, Mr. Brain, don't speak.
I subsequently got the report from the mechanic.
I don't care what the report says.
And then I sent him an email to say, and I have the email that I sent him, saying, the ski is no good. It was full of water in the engine. You didn't tell me that. What do you want to do to pick it up? And he never responded to that email.
You mean you wanted him to come and pick it up?
I wanted him to contact me. He wasn't contacting me.
Did you say to him, you just said to come and pick it up?
That's what the email said. I wanted to evoke a response because he wasn't returning any of my phone calls.
Just a second. What you said to him in the email was, when are you going to come and pick it up? And how long a drive was it?
About 600 miles.
600 miles.
Yes,
so you wanted him to come and pick up the jet ski?
I was willing to bring it back, but he was not.
Where did you tell him that in the email?
The email didn't say that. I figured he would now finally call me if he got this email.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Caroselli says he was scammed on eBay by Mac Brame. Michael claims Mac sold him a jet ski that had been sunk.
You say that the ski can be picked up in Pineville, North Carolina at your convenience. It's about 500 miles away. This is non-negotiable, nor up for debate. That's what you said.
In the email,
okay.
yes.
Okay. Then you found out that he stopped payment on the check.
Yes.
And you contacted the authorities.
He did not.
Shh. What did you do?
First off, he never called me at all.
Okay.
I never got any correspondence in any kind of way as far as him saying...
You got the email.
Right, I got the email. At that point in time, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a clue as to what my recourse should be at that point.
Let me have the name of the person, the name of the friend for whom you were selling the jet ski.
John.
John.
Who's not the owner.
Shh. Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want you to explain to me, Mr. Brame, how it came about that you got this jet ski from John.
He's been a friend for quite some years. He was opening a daycare in a local town. He was needing money. He was asking me to sell various items for him on eBay.
Why didn't he put the items up himself on eBay?
Okay, because on eBay, when you first begin to sell, you don't have any feedback. And feedback's a very important thing when you sell on eBay. It tells everyone out there if you're an honest person or a dishonest person. So when you first start selling, you have a big goose egg beside your name, which means no one knows anything about you. He asked me would I do it.
It doesn't sound like a very good friend to me, sir.
He is a good friend.
No. Good friend is not somebody that uses your good name. What he did was give you an item that caused you trouble.
Oh, it did, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it gave you trouble because either he did not represent to you that it had been a salvaged vehicle.
It wasn't a salvaged vehicle.
And how do you know that, sir?
I have the title in my possession, and it's not a salvaged vehicle.
Submerged.
Okay. Most any jet ski, what knowledge I know of jet skis, and from my seeing people on them, often they're submerged.
I'm not interested in what you think you know about jet skis, so you're not an expert on jet skis.
No, ma'am, I'm not.
I've seen them, too. So, did you ever see to it that Mr. Caroselli got clear title to this jet ski?
No, ma'am. I have an email here from Mr. Caroselli when he would not let me come get it. He said the jet ski was gone.
Oh, can I see that,
He no
please?
longer had the jet ski.
Can I see that,
yes,
please?
ma'am.
What'd you do with the jet ski, sir?
I still have it.
Well, why did you tell him that you didn't? You said, sorry, it's gone now.
The state of South Carolina deemed that it was abandoned because he would not respond. I sent a letter to him.
No, but that's not what Mr. Caroselli. What you say
it was
here...
it was sitting at the mechanic. That time it was sitting at the mechanics.
I don't care if it's sitting at the mechanics, sir. Then you say it's at the mechanics. You don't say, sorry, it's gone now.
The state of South Carolina required me to get in touch with the registered owner in reference to the ski because he would not return calls. I couldn't return it to him.
Why don't you just say that here instead of saying it's gone now, Mr.
Still
Caroselli?
never called me at no
Mr.
point.
Caroselli, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
Give
ma'am,
me
I
a
do.
reasonable answer, sir.
I'm giving you the truth.
No.
I'm telling you what
So
I
you
did.
lied in here.
It was I physically.
So you lied in here.
I didn't tell him the whole truth in that response.
You didn't tell him the truth.
He didn't respond at all.
You didn't tell him the truth.
No, I did. I was not totally honest in that. You're correct.
What do you want?
He also lied, and he PayPal'd us. It was an electronic form of payment. He PayPal'd us a $100 deposit for the jet ski to hold it until the next day when he could drive from South Carolina to Kentucky to pick up the jet ski. He informed PayPal that he did not receive the merchandise, so therefore he was able to get PayPal to give him his $100 deposit back because he lied to them and told them that he did not receive the merchandise.
Show me. Did you, in fact, Mr. Caroselli, notify PayPal that you did not receive the merchandise?
I don't recall what I said to PayPal, but they refunded the $100.
He stated...
Just a second, I can read.
Okay.
Well, you did say in here, sir, the reason that you're stopping payment is that the seller has never delivered the goods, nor the title.
That is correct.
Well, he did deliver the goods. You did get the goods.
It was my belief that it wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Okay.
I was disputing the $100 deposit because it was all part of the transaction.
Ultimately, you contacted authorities because that's why he was arrested. Is that right?
That's correct.
And he paid you the money.
He paid me the money over several payments where he agreed with the county attorney to make these payments.
Okay. Now, what did you do with the money?
I gave it to Mr.
Your Honor, the check was made out to him. The sale was with him. He told me he was selling it for a friend who owned it, and when I got contacted by the county attorney, I had not heard one word from him since day one. I got contacted 6 weeks later saying they were coming to arrest me.
Mr. Brame, do you have the ability now, as we stand here today, to transfer title to Mr. Caroselli to this jet ski?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Show me.
This title has already been signed and notarized, which I had showed to Mr. Caroselli the day he came, and it's ready for the new owner's signature to be placed on the back.
When did you show this to him?
The day he was there. I made him a copy of it and gave it to him that day to show him that I indeed had the title and he had all the information.
Is that right, Mr. Caroselli?
He did show me that title.
So if he showed you the title, you were aware of the fact that the owner's name was...
Yes, ma'am.
Well, what you said was you went into the glove compartment of the jet ski and found paperwork. Let me
Yeah,
see if I
the
can-
registration.
You said, upon having the jet ski in my possession, I found the registration for the vehicle in the glove compartment. The defendant was not the registered owner. This was never disclosed in the original ad. That may be true, but that's sort of trying to mislead me, sir. So you were aware of the fact when you bought the jet ski that Mr. was the owner, not Mr. Brame.
Yes, I knew that. The point is, after I stopped payment on the check, there was nothing I could do with it anyway. Putting all this aside, I didn't have the title. I had a worthless jet ski. I'm calling him, sending him an email, whether it was fully disclosed or not. He never once got in touch with me, never picked up the phone. I had this thing sitting at the mechanic who I owed money to, and he never got in touch with me one time until I get a letter from a county attorney in the end of August, 6 weeks later, saying, Mr. Brame has now contacted my office. No police report. He never went to the sheriff's department. 6 weeks later, after he's done nothing to contact.
Your Honor, that's not true.
There's no reports in his area. He never made a
I don't care whether
report.
there's a report or not. You took 11 days to get back to me. This is your email to him. Sorry, it's gone now. Besides, you are not the registered owner anyway to have to claim it. What I'm suggesting to you, Mr. Caroselli, is I don't think you're a scam artist. I think you were really frustrated.
I was.
And you sent him an email, and you said to him in the email that you sent to him, the engine has been underwater, it's got sludge, it's got mud, you misrepresented. You can now come 500 miles and pick it up at the Friend in North Carolina. You can come here. This is non-negotiable or up for debate. You can either accept the ski or pick it up and pay to get it back. Call me Monday and let me know what you decide.
And he never called. I used wording
Just a
because
second.
I wanted to elicit a response from him.
He's not a mind reader, sir. He's not Karnak.
He wasn't
You
returning.
did the wrong thing, Mr. Caroselli.
Your Honor, we did correspond with him. I have a copy of the email where we responded to him. We said at what address and phone number is the jet ski at. We were willing to drive
I
there
never
and
received
pay
an
that
email from
$100.
them. I never received this email.
Just a second.
That's when you
Just a
responded
second.
to
This
us.
is July 24th. Oh, yeah, you received this email, sir, because the next day you responded. July 24th, they said, at what address and phone number is the jet ski?
Then I misspoke. Then I misspoke.
Yeah, you misspoke. On the next day, you say you took 11 days to get back to me. Sorry, it's gone now. Mr. Caroselli, unfortunately, sir, you bought yourself an as-is item.
Yes, ma'am.
And here's the title.
Your Honor.
It's signed over to you. It's been paid for.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
you have the title.
May I say?
Yes.
It's not even so much the jet ski. I understand with the jet ski, buyer beware and all that. The point is, after all this, the contact with the county attorney. None of this had to happen. This was all inappropriate. For 6 weeks, nothing happens. They don't go to the police. I don't get a call from the Kentucky State Police. I
He
get
did
a call.
receive this letter.
It's very important.
I got that letter from the county attorney saying that I've defrauded him because I've tried to deprive him
So
of
they,
it.
just a second, so you were contacted.
6 weeks later by the county attorney.
Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Just
yes,
a
ma'am.
second. So what did you do when you received this?
I called the county attorney immediately to say, this is a civil matter. This is a dispute between two people. He was saying that I wrote him a bad check. This is an insufficient funds issue.
Listen to me, sir. Listen to me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
You chose to put him in the position of having to be the active person, the person to go to court and sue you. That was your tactic.
Yes, ma'am.
And whatever emails that went back and forth, some of which I've alluded to
Yes, ma'am.
here, he chose to call the county attorney and to say, listen, he now has my jet ski, and he says I have to come and get it 600 miles, and he now has the money. That's not fair. And the county attorney contacted you and you said he's not getting his money and he's not getting his jet ski. Listen to me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
What you're complaining about is not the title, because you have the title. But you're complaining about the fact that he waited 6 weeks. You're not paying attention, Mr. Karras. Are you a lawyer?
No, ma'am.
Because you say something
Yeah,
here.
he told us he was.
Just a second. You say something
I
here.
wrote in the
Listen
email
to
that
me. You wrote in the email. I had it confirmed by 2 different watercraft mechanics that without a doubt the ski was underwater and you failed to disclose it. Except this is true. I practice law as well. It is a violation of the law to sell a vehicle of any type without full disclosure. So you lied to him when you said to him...
I wanted to elicit a response.
Well, here's your response. You have the
us.
title, you have your jet ski, the rest of your case is dismissed.
such a
That's
liar.
all.
Thank you.
You may step out.
Thank you, Your Honor.
He paid me for the jet ski finally, and I hadn't heard from him in quite some time, so I assumed it was over.
He was selling a bogus jet ski for somebody who couldn't sell it themselves.
I received some paperwork in the mail showing where he was suing me.
He got the authorities involved because he refused to contact me, and currently I'm pursuing a lawsuit against him and the attorney for malicious prosecution.
It was very much spelled out in the paper along with pictures to show the jet ski.
I was trying to make it sound like he had no choice but to come get the ski.
Basically, he decides then that you can come here and get it, or I'll give you $300 for it.
He never picked up the phone one time to make one phone call.
He came there originally just to steal the jet ski, not to pay for it.
I was falsely arrested at work. I lost my job.
It did take me quite a while to decide what I wanted to do, if I wanted to drive to South Carolina or get the law enforcement involved or whatever.
They came and served a warrant for my arrest that he attested to that I defrauded him when he knows that it's just not what happened.
He had the item, disposed of the item, and took the money back.
Be careful what you buy.
Gwendolyn Suplee is suing her son's ex-girlfriend, 20-year-old photo lab tech Courtney Starr, for stealing her jewelry and video camera and pawning them to buy drugs.
All rise. Yeah, this is case number 554 on the calendar in the matter of Suplee versus Starr. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
Mrs. Suplee, the defendant used to be your son's girlfriend.
Yes.
Son?
Yes.
And she lived in your home for a while, according to what I read in your complaint, or stayed there.
Yes.
And she also had a drug problem. You didn't know that, I assume, at the time.
I was not aware of that.
Your complaint alleges that over a period of time, the defendant stole items from your home and pawned them.
That's correct.
You managed to get some of the things back.
That's correct.
2 items you did not, a bracelet and a video camera.
That's
you want her to
correct.
pay for those things. Ms. Starr says that she took care of everything she stole. She got it back for you. She doesn't know anything about this bracelet or the video camera. That's your defense.
That's right.
What kind of drugs were you addicted to, Ms. Starr?
Prescription Xanax.
But you were getting it from means other than being prescribed by a doctor.
Right. I was getting it through a friend.
How long had you been addicted to Xanax?
It had been going on for about 3 months.
When were you staying at the Suplee home?
It was around last year.
When was she staying at your home?
July and August.
How did you discover the missing items?
Well, I had had minor surgery on the 2nd of September. I did not wear my jewelry that week. So the week after that, I believe it was the 13th, is when I went into my jewelry box to get these 2 rings to wear, and they weren't there. And I got very upset, and I went and woke my son up and my husband up and told them that I could not be late for work. I asked them to
see them, please?
To look around to see if they could locate them, and I left for work.
This was the 2nd week in September?
Yes. When I got to work, my husband called me and said that him and my son had found some pawn tickets in Courtney's purse. Courtney was in jail at the time. She had been arrested that weekend for a DUI. And so they went through her purse and found these pawn tickets in her purse where she had used a false ID and signed a false name on these pawn tickets, and she had taken my rings and a bunch of my other jewelry, which I didn't realize until I talked to my husband. When I called him, it dawned on me that my diamond bracelet and my opal and sapphire ring and my guan peso earrings were not in there, so I asked him to check in my jewelry box and see if those were there as well, and he looked and he said they were not there. And when he went to the pawn shop and asked them about the ring, they just kind of looked at each other like they knew what he was talking about, but they weren't going to say anything.
You're Mr. Suplee.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what happened when you went to the pawn shop.
The first couple I went to didn't really tell me much because in Texas you can't really discuss a pawned item. So I went to the third one, and this is the one where they kind of looked at each other, and I asked to speak to the manager, and he came out from the back, and apparently on this particular item, the large diamond ring, she didn't pawn it, she sold it.
How much did she sell it for?
$35.
How many items in total did you ultimately get back from the pawn shops?
I don't know the total number that we got back. I know that we got back everything but 2.
And you got them back because her grandmother intervened, is that right?
That's correct.
You contacted her grandmother?
Well, actually, I called her mother, and I told her mother that we were going to file charges against her for taking these items, and her mother said that she had kicked her out of the house and to do whatever we had to do. So we went down the next day and filed a police report, and I do have the police report here.
May I see it? Go ahead.
So then her grandmother called me at work and asked me what was going on, and I told her basically that Courtney had stolen some jewelry from our home and that I wanted the jewelry back and that we had filed a police report against her, and if we didn't get the jewelry back that we were going to prosecute her. So she called and talked to him.
What did she say?
She said she had discussed it with Courtney's mother and Courtney, and that she was going to go ahead and help Courtney out and apparently loan her some money.
Good. That's how you got the stuff back.
Yes, ma'am.
What didn't you get back?
We did not get back my gold peso bracelet and a video camera.
Is that a Sony video camera?
No, this is not a Sony video camera. It's a Sharp.
Did you get back a Sony video camera?
No, that was not ours. She's pawned.
Where did you get the Sony video camera?
Sony video camera?
Yeah, that you pawned.
I didn't know that there was a Sony video camera.
So it's possible that you were not in complete control of your senses at all times when you took this property and you stole from more homes than one.
True.
Mm-hmm. All right. You weren't missing binoculars, were you?
Well, not that I know of, but these were the rest of my jewelry that she pawned that we got back.
I'll take a look
in
at
addition to the rings.
But I see here binoculars, DVD movies, Black & Decker hedge cutter.
We did not realize those were even gone until we went to the pawn shop, and those were there. Only then did we realize that those had been taken.
Okay. All right, Miss Starr. I'm going to listen. Do you have anything to say to me?
I remember taking the jewelry. All the jewelry.
When did you take the jewelry?
It was spread out. It was like an everyday thing. It happened. It went on for a month.
So you mean each day you would go and take something else?
Mm-hmm. Just so I could go get more Xanax.
Where else did you steal from?
I also stole from my own family.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Lynn Suplee says her son's ex-girlfriend, Courtney Starr, stole her jewelry and video camera and pawned them for drugs.
How much is the gold bracelet worth?
The gold bracelet we bought 15 years ago when we went on a trip to Cancun. So since it was 15 years ago, I do not have a receipt for it, but it was $650. I have pictures of me wearing it.
Can I see it, please?
Yes.
What's the son's name?
James.
James, you're going to take your father's place, please. James, you have a drug problem?
No.
Did you?
No.
Did you know that Miss Starr had a drug problem?
Well, I did in time. So we realized this was going on, and I realized that it was a problem.
I'm talking about before that.
No.
Before the jewelry episode.
No.
Had no clue?
Mm-mm.
Really?
Yeah.
How long had you been together?
Well, about 6 months.
Why did you invite her to your house?
Well, things were going pretty good, and after she started staying and spending a lot of time with me, she had lost her job, and she just kind of fell off the edge, and stuff started going downhill.
I don't know what that means.
She lost her job. We started having problems. She didn't have any money, and that's when I realized that something funny was going on. That's when I decided to check her purse for the pawn tickets, right after my mom realized that the jewelry was missing.
That doesn't answer my question, James. If you're dating somebody for 6 months, you don't invite them to come to your house to stay. She has a mother, she has a grandmother. Didn't it strike you, young man, that if she wasn't welcome in her mother's house and her grandmother's house, that there might be something wrong with her?
Yeah, I mean, she's welcome at her mother's and her grandmother's house. It was...
James, what do you do?
I'm a human resource manager.
How old are you?
25.
Where do you live?
Lake Dallas, Texas.
Do you live at home?
Yes.
Not anymore.
I just recently moved out a few weeks ago.
Who do you live with?
2 roommates.
Perfect. That'll help him grow up. It's time. Time he wasn't tethered to your side. Do you have any other children home?
No, I do not.
Yes! When did you buy the video camera?
We bought the video camera in 1979. Here is the receipt for the video camera.
Can I see it, please?
It came from Fry Electronics.
You have receipts from 1979. You are one organized
no, I did
lady.
not. I did not. I had to call them up, and we had to get them to mail it to us. I did not have it.
Gwen.
Huh?
It wasn't 1979.
What year was it?
Well, it'll say on the receipt,
Yeah.
but it wasn't 79.
Okay.
$382, is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so let's go back. $1,060. I hope that completes the debt. Hope that you didn't take any property from anybody else. You off the stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Working?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
I am a photo tech at Walmart.
Okay, fine. Where are you living?
My parents.
Getting along all right?
Yes, I've cleaned up a lot.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
Well, so you have another 60 years to go. So you have 60 years to do it right. First couple of years weren't so hot. Make sure the last 60 are better.
Right.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,060. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I've just had a rough life. I guess it's because of my childhood.
It hurt. It hurt a lot.
I've learned to shape my life up, quit doing drugs.
We don't hate her. We don't like what she did, but we don't hate her.
I knew I needed to change.
I tried to have some understanding for the fact that there was drugs involved and maybe she wasn't in her right mind. But at the same time, you make your own bed.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Dixon versus Gordon. Step forward, please.
26-year-old waitress Tiffany Dixon is suing her ex-boyfriend, barber Charles Gordon, for damages to her car and for a loan to go to barber school.
Miss Dixon, I've read your complaint and I've read your answer, sir. And from what I gather, Mr. Gordon, hopefully, is your ex-boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have 2 children together.
Yes, ma'am.
One wasn't enough. You claim that he owes you some money.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you, in addition to making the mistake of getting involved with him, you loaned him $900, according to you, so that he could attend barber school.
Yes, ma'am.
And then on 2 separate occasions, 2 separate months, you allowed him to drive your car, and your car was damaged while it was in his possession.
Yes, ma'am.
You want him to pay for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Gordon says that you are a very, very lucky person to have him in your life, that you adored him, and that's why you gave him the money for barber school, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And he didn't damage your car. One of his other girlfriends may have damaged it, scratched it up while it was in his possession, but he shouldn't be responsible for that because he personally didn't do it, right?
That's right. I don't know if no girl did it or not either.
But somebody else did it while it was in your possession.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
It wasn't Bird, was it?
Not sure.
Cute. What do you do for a living, Mr. Gordon?
I do it all. You know, from the north to south, east to the west.
He's in Barber College, Your Honor.
He's in Barber College?
I don't need nobody to speak for me. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
When you took the money for barber school, Mr. Gordon, what had you been doing just prior to that?
What I've been doing a lot of things. Making the ends meet, you know. They connecting, you know, real connecting, real good. You know, she gave me one thing. Do a lot of things, you know, just to make ends meet, like I said.
When was the last time you filed tax returns, Mr. Gordon?
Filed tax returns. I do that every year. Got to do that every year.
When was the last year?
Is it April 15th yet?
What's your Social Security number? We'll check. Listen to me very carefully. I would like to be able to continue with your case. Unfortunately, I'm not able to communicate reasonably with Mr. Gordon, so he is not able at this time to present a valid, cogent defense to me.
But, I mean, I can...
He can't answer my question. I mean, I'm asking relatively simple questions, and I'm not able to get from him the answers that I need.
You can talk directly to... You can ask me.
I asked you, sir. I asked you what your Social Security number was.
Your Honor.
Just... That's what I asked you. That was my question.
I mean, what I would tell my Social Security number to for?
You say you file tax returns every year. I want to check.
What does tax returns have to do with this?
Because I asked you a question, sir. I said, prior to going to barber school, what did you do? You said you did what you had to do to make ends meet. That's not an answer to my question.
Okay, well, if he wanted to come over here and get some paperwork,
no.
I might have some paperwork. He can read it.
Do you understand what, Ms. Dixon, do you understand what I just said to you? I cannot complete this case.
Your Honor, please.
I can't.
If I can't present my evidence.
You can't present your evidence, Ms. Dixon, because I cannot communicate with the defendant. Do you understand? I mean, if this is the way he communicates...
No, he doesn't communicate. I don't know if it's because it's television. I don't know what it is, Your Honor.
Television. We on TV?
Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Sharna Horn is suing her former employer, Kimberly Stewart, for unpaid wages and defamation of character.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2103, Horn versus Stewart.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Horn, it is your allegation that the defendant, for whom you worked for a relatively short period of time, owes you some wages.
Yes, ma'am.
And in addition to owing you wages, you are suing her because you claim she defamed you by calling you a drug addict.
And she went to my board telling them that I did other acts.
Well, you can't tell me what she told anybody else because that's hearsay.
Could I give you the evidence?
No, you have to wait until I'm finished.
Okay.
That's your claim, that she owes you money for wages that you weren't compensated for and that she defamed you. The defendant says that you were an hourly employee. You were, in fact, paid for the hours that you worked. I assume that you are claiming that she paid for the hours that she worked. She has a counterclaim, and her counterclaim is that after you separated, parted company, you posted some very damaging and defamatory comments on the internet about her organization. So why don't we start with you, Ms. Stewart, and tell me what kind of an organization you have.
Your Honor, what we do is that we provide opportunities for people who have substance abuse, behavior health, who may need education services such as getting their GED. We do skills training. We have employers that will staff them as well. And we also provide substance abuse and behavior health services.
Is it a 501c3 organization?
No, we are a for-profit company as a corporation.
And how many employees do you have?
We currently have 7 employees.
And when did Ms. Horn come to work for you, and what was she hired to do?
She was hired as the clinical director, and she started on July 21st, 2022.
Okay, before I go to Ms. Horn, I want you to tell me what special training did you have, or is it required to have? You're the director of this?
I'm the VP of operations.
Okay. Is there any special training that you had?
Besides having the master's in accounting, I have my own accounting firm.
Okay, so you have a master's in accounting, and you have your own firm.
Yes.
Okay, and you do operations for this. Okay, and Ms. Horn, I'd like you to tell me what your educational background. You were hired as the clinical director.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me about your educational background.
I've been in the field for 15 years. I have a master's in counseling psychology. I have my LPC, which is an independent licensure. And so when she wanted to do illegal practices...
No. You're getting ahead of yourself, Ms. Horn.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you answer an ad?
Yes, ma'am. I went for the interview, and when I showed up for the interview, she told me that I could not oversee the clinicians, BHTs, and case managers, and that I could not sign off on notes because I had an LPC. I got the board on the phone that day, and
You're getting far ahead of yourself, Ms. Horn, and I'm just telling you, who is this person?
My dad, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm just telling you that what you're doing is, by not just answering my questions, you're not serving your cause well.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Don't tell me what she told you she couldn't do. You started working for her on what date?
The date that I actually started working for her was July 27th, 2022.
And were you an hourly employee?
No, I was a salary employee. Could I show you?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sarah, would you bring up a July calendar for me? I want to see the days in July.
I have it.
Okay, so this was an offer, and it was a pretty nice job. Paid on a bi-weekly basis, $115,000 a year, with an increase the following year. The work offer was contingent upon a background check.
Yes, ma'am.
A drug test.
Yes, ma'am.
Participation in training, and any other safety measurements for staffing. So between July 21st and July 27th, when you started, was a background check completed?
It was completed.
That's all I wanted to know. Was completed. Was a drug test completed?
Yes,
Not before she started. No.
Just a second. Between July 21st and July 27th was a drug test conducted.
Yes, ma'am.
It was conducted, but on the 28th, her drug test was done on the 28th of July, after she had started.
Okay, so you took it on the 28th.
Yes, ma'am.
I need from the 27th to August 3rd.
Yeah, the 27th was a Wednesday. Yes. August 3rd was the following Wednesday.
Okay, so she worked Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
And then the following
Monday and Tuesday.
The third
No,
would
ma'am.
be that Wednesday.
5 days.
No, ma'am. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of the last week. Her grand opening was the Thursday of that week that I quit. And what she is talking about, I talked about at the beginning before I took the drug test, and they said that it was no problem. I take medication that's prescribed by doctors, and I have proof that I take medication by doctors, and I'm not a drug addict.
Well, I don't want to get into what medication that you take that's prescribed by doctors. I would assume that we're not talking about blood pressure medication, and we're not talking about medication for migraines, and we're not talking about stuff to take care of rashes on your arm.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So let's say you worked there for 6 days. How much were you paid?
I was paid $55.29 an hour, but I worked those 7 days.
How much were you paid in total?
So the last paycheck that they gave me, $909.58.
May I see it?
Yes, ma'am. And I want to send up, I think I have the credit card because she had owed me money. And here are the days that I worked.
What is
circled?
Do you have a paycheck?
She did not give me a paycheck. The first one was a paycheck. The others were direct.
I want to know how much she paid you in total. Let's have it.
So for just wages itself,
that's all I want to know.
I was paid.
You want to tell me, do you have records, Ms. Stewart, about how much the plaintiff was paid by your organization?
She received 2 checks. She was paid $1,903.38.
$1,903. And that was for?
When we did the drug test, she was gone for over 5 hours. Drug testing are supposed to be done before or after work hours. Then she returned back to the facility between 4:30 and 5 p.m. that day and said that she had an emergency, that her friend was in the hospital, and so she could not work anytime. Then after that, on the next pay period, Sherna wasn't.
She really only was with you for 1 week?
Yes.
On what date did you tell her that?
About the 28th, yeah.
On the 28th, did you tell her that on the 21st?
No.
I'm just asking you.
No, because what happened that day was...
Sharna Horn is suing her former employer, Kimberly Stewart, for unpaid wages and defamation of character. Kimberly is countersuing for property damage and slander.
So she really only was with you for 1 week?
Correct. And then on the next pay period, because she was paid for those 3 days and the time that she took off, we put her on the hourly rate because she didn't work a solid 2 weeks. But at any rate, we paid her for the time and days she was there. And so we don't owe her any money. She was paid.
Well, you were actually paid almost $2,000 and you were there for 5 days.
What she said was a lie. I never took off time.
Just to say, I said something. Don't say what she said was a lie. You were paid almost $2,000 and you worked for 5 days.
7 days.
Well, when you went to take your drug test, what time did you leave?
Well, the other person...
Just what time did you leave?
I did not leave from anything. I did it on my own before I started.
So is what you're telling me that the defendant was incorrect when she said that you were gone from the facility?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have anything to support that she was gone for 4 hours?
Ma'am, she was gone for half the day, because that's when she ran into my office and said, hey, there's some stuff that's going to show up. Will I be fired? Or am I going to have a job? So
when did you have that discussion with her?
That was on the 28th of July.
Did you ask her what substances?
Yes.
Did she tell you?
Yes.
Okay. From my information, Ms. Horn, yes, how much do you think, in addition to the $19.03 that you were paid, do you think you're owed?
10 hours, ma'am.
10 hours. Which 10 hours?
That's from the week of the second week, not the first week, because I never left. I actually stayed late the day before their grand opening because she ordered a sofa.
Are you charging her for those hours that you stayed late?
Yes, because that's work.
No. Okay. What else? Right now we're just playing with time.
I passed everything and I was told I would be fine.
Just a second. Who told you that? She?
Yes, ma'am.
When did she tell you would be fine?
I went to her. I said, there's going to be a drug test. Here's the medications that I take.
On what date did you tell her that?
About the 28th, yeah.
On the 28th, did you tell her that on the 21st?
No.
I'm just asking you.
No, because what happened that day was it was a confused interview where I was about to walk out.
Okay. Well, I'm getting unconfused. So you went into her before she got the results of the test and asked her specifically, these are the medications that I take. This is what's going to show up. Is it going to be a problem?
This is common, Your Honor.
Is who?
This is common in my field, to take drug tests before all the field.
You're going to answer my question.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, if you knew that it might have been a problem, you did not tell that to her on the 21st of July or the 22nd or the 23rd or when you started, but not until either right before or right after you took the drug test. That's when you said you went into her office and said, these are the medications that I take. Is it going to be a problem?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Horn, actually, I'm glad you're here with your daughter.
May I talk to her for a minute?
No.
Okay.
You may not talk to her.
Could I show you a picture of the inside of the facility of what happened in that facility, please?
No. You left. And
Yes,
I
ma'am.
find that the records are so actually, you don't have records, unless that's something that you want to show me. You wanted to show me something about your employment hours? You were paid almost $2,000 for the few days you worked there. As far as I'm concerned, it didn't work out. You hated it there, and she wasn't crazy about you.
Because I had to leave because I was going to be violating state law and federal law, which she's already done, Your Honor.
I'm going to ask you, and you've been doing what you're doing for 15 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what job you had that lasted more than 3 years.
I've moved
Tell me who you worked for in the last 15 years, more than 3 years.
I can't because I was in graduate school and then I went to
So you weren't,
PhD.
just a second, so you weren't in this field for 15 years, you were in school.
I've been seeing clients since 2007.
Privately?
No.
Well, what I asked you is, who did you work for in the last 15 years, more than 3 years?
University.
Is that where you went to school?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that where you went to school for how many years?
5 years.
Your father wants to have a word with you before I'm finishing up with this case. You want to have a conversation with her?
You're blowing it. You answer her question directly and don't go anywhere else.
Okay.
Was that helpful?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We're leaving the salary that you think you're owed. You say that the defendant called you a drug addict and thereby limited your ability in your chosen field. So show me, tell me.
I would like to submit the board allegations because everything...
Just a second.
And may I provide the timeline for what happened?
What I want to know is, what is this?
That is a falsified document.
No, just say
submitted
it
to
is
my
a
board.
document.
To my board stating that I did things that I did not do. I highlighted the bottom.
To your board or to the board?
Shh. Okay, so this says a complaint was filed against you with the Arizona Board of Behavioral Health. Complaint alleges that you may have committed an act of unprofessional practice. If this is somebody filed a complaint against you.
She lodged a false complaint.
Shh. No, somebody lodged a complaint against you.
Yes, ma'am.
Doesn't say who lodged a complaint against you. It says a complaint has been filed. You didn't file this document.
Yes, she did.
Excuse me?
It's her signature at the bottom.
The types of documentation that were filed was list of medications, harassing and threatening emails and text messages, and budget left in desk. I don't know what that means.
She said I had all of my possessions, but how did she only have my budget?
I'm telling you that this is what it says.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? The CEO filed this document, and you swore to the accuracy of this document. Well, this report says that you were complaining that the person who was doing intake had to have a master's level. Don't look at any papers. That's what you were complaining.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
your first complaint.
Yes,
that
ma'am.
the person doing intake, and somebody said to you that the person who was doing intake was just taking basic information, and once the basic information was taken, they would be assigned to somebody else. But that's
Your
what
Honor,
it said.
She said that she wanted to get some substance use information. My state board gave me this paper that I'd like to submit.
Just a second. I don't care about your state board, actually. The question is, does she owe you any money? She doesn't owe you any money for salary. I've already determined that. I see what she was supposed to pay you. It's not that you were working there for days. You have hours that you think you want to be paid for. That's not happening. You were paid almost $2,000, and what I gather was a very acrimonious few days. I mean, you're talking about either 5 days or 7 days. You were compensated. Forget it. Do you have any security footage of her?
I do.
Put your hand.
Shauna Horn has accused her former employer, Kimberly Stewart, of defaming her. Kimberly claims Shauna caused property damage and slandered her business.
Okay, the only other thing that I have to determine is whether or not she called you a drug addict. Now, would you show me where she called you a drug addict?
It wasn't just the drug addict. It was the false documents that I
No. She's allowed to file a complaint against you,
But I
madam.
never had a police officer come to me, question me, or anything. So if I did it, they would have come to me.
Just a second. What I'm telling you is she is allowed to file a complaint against you.
Yes, ma'am.
They have a responsibility to look into the allegations of that complaint. Did they either sustain the allegations in this complaint? Well, this is just August, so I assume they haven't completed the investigation, or have they?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so they have not.
That's why I'm filing defamation, because this is doing it on purpose.
I'll let you have one more go at it. You say she's doing this on purpose.
Hold on.
Do you have...
Yes, I have my father, who's a witness from court one day.
What court?
Explain.
Don't speak.
We were in court because they tried to file an injunction for harassment, and the judge, my dad...
Just a second. Went to file an injunction against you for harassment?
Yes, ma'am. Right after I went to the police.
Just a second. And were you served with a document?
No, ma'am.
Well, then how did you end up in court?
I saw the document on my door, and unlike the defendant, I went to the court to take care of it. You can laugh all you want, but I took care of it.
You have to be served with it.
I'm actually finished. I asked one question, and you tell me that you have the answer to that question. We're going to repeat the question. Whitney's going to, and don't go off on this question. Just stick to what the question was. She said they did this thing, it's sort of either retaliation or on purpose, or...
She said that's why I'm filing defamation, because she's doing it on purpose.
On purpose. Okay, and it was the on purpose, and you said you wanted your father to testify to that and on purpose. Now go. Stand up next to your daughter. You are limited to the following. You are limited to telling me proof that you have on behalf of your daughter that the defendant has filed these charges against her, not on purpose, because she absolutely did them on purpose, but I assume that you meant maliciously.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'll hear you.
Okay, I'm going to keep this in six.
Maliciously. What evidence do you have that the defendant filed this complaint and swore to this complaint maliciously?
I have no proof, but...
Then you have no proof. Then you can sit down.
Right, but that's not the question she asked.
All I want to know is maliciously. Now you can sit down. Okay, now we're going to get to the last question that I have for you, and then we're done. Do you have anything in writing where she called you a drug addict?
Your Honor, in the complaint to my board.
Okay, we're done. We're done. So now we're on your case. Now we're on your counterclaim. Your counterclaim is for property damage. What property?
I will show you the documentation to the counterclaim.
Just a second. Don't tell me that you have documentation. It's a shattered window. When was the window shattered?
The window was actually shattered on August and let me make sure I get you accurate dates. I'm sorry.
Did you witness it being shattered?
No, ma'am.
If you didn't witness it being shattered, what proof do you have that if... Put your hand down.
Yes, ma'am.
Put your hand down.
I don't have it up.
Oh, put it down. Very good. Better.
We don't have witness.
If you don't have witness, then you don't have proof.
Okay.
Any other property damage? Shattered window? Anything else?
It was a broke lock. The day that she was, can I say this?
No. I'm very easy.
No, I'm saying the day that she came out to and sent the police to our facility on a Saturday, the lock, I saw her leaving that day, and our lock was broken off of our gate.
All I want to know is, did anyone witness her either?
No.
Then the answer is no. Do you have any security footage of her?
I do.
Put your hand down.
She said she had.
Put your hand down.
You're going to see the video.
No.
Not the video. She stated in a document she had video of it.
Just a second.
Oh, gosh.
I don't think you understand the court process. So I'm not going to tell you. I dismissed your case, and I'm getting very close to dismissing hers. I'm dismissing those parts of her complaint which allege property damage because she has no witnesses that you, in fact, committed property damage. There's no reason for you to continue looking up papers. Your case is dismissed. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. It's about
very clearly. Now, the last part of this case has to do with the defendant's allegation that you, in fact, defamed her organization. I'd like to see in writing what you have to prove to me that the plaintiff defamed your organization.
Yes,
I want you to. I didn't ask you for anything. Now it's her proof. Do you understand? What I'm telling you, Miss Horn, is your behavior is a little off. I'm telling you.
Because I was framed.
Just a second. Your behavior is off. And I've told you why. I've given you specific reasons why. You had two parts of your complaint. One is for wages, which I dismissed, and the other one for calling you a drug addict, which you could not prove. No. You're not hearing me. I asked you for proof that she called you a drug addict. You didn't have it. Now, proof that she defamed your organization. May I have it, Kevin?
This is from her and her father. And
just a second. Her father isn't a party to this action.
Can I speak to the counterclaim? Because I have proof from her.
Sure.
Her text. It's her text.
This is from him. I'm not interested in anything from him. Sue him if he said nasty things to you.
Your Honor, it's just not nasty things. This all came about because of everything that Sherna has done, and she doesn't realize is that.
Listen to me.
Yes.
None of this comes from her.
She's on it. Her name is on
there. I
there.
don't care whether her name is on it. None of this comes from her. They CC'd her.
This is proof.
Put everything away. Put all your papers away. I'm not coming back to you unless I, in fact, see that there's any validity towards her counterclaim. Then I'll come back to you. Right now, your claim is dismissed. Both counts of your claim is dismissed. I've dismissed her claims for shattered window and a broken lock. And these emails do not represent any form of defamation. If you have nothing else, your claim for defamation is dismissed. Do you have anything else? The answer is yes or no.
No, Your Honor.
We're done.
Easy.
Thank you. Bye.
You.
Court is adjourned.
Thank you. Our facility and myself have done nothing wrong.
I think I got flustered, which is fair.
We're doing everything according to the Arizona State Board and laws.
I actually thought that they paid her. She complained that she hadn't gotten her second paycheck. If you look at the documents say that they went right in and bookkeeping corrected that and sent her out the second paycheck. So that was nonsense. And there was absolutely zero proof that they called her a drug addict.
Except for in a valid document that they filed, which they have a right to do. It wasn't the type of slander we usually see where it's plastered on the internet or anything like that.
And certainly the defendant didn't present any proof other than some nasty emails back and forth by her father. Yeah. Maybe
What is the capital of United States? New York, Washington DC, New York, Washington DC, Los Angeles. Who invented the telephone? Alexander Graham Bell, Tham- Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla. Which planet is known as red planet? Earth, Mars, Jupiter. What is the largest ocean in the world? Atlant- Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean. How many how many continents are there? 6, 7, 5. 5. Who wrote Romeo and Juliet? William Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, Mark Twain. What is the smallest prime number? 0, 1, 2. Which is the tallest mountain in the world? Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Everest, K2. What gas do planets use for? What gas? What gas do planets use for photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen. What currency is used in Japan? What currency is used in Japan? What currency is used in Japan? Yen, dollar, won. What year did World War What year did World War II? What did World War II end? To end. 1945, 1940, 1950. Which animal is known as the king of the jungle? Elephant, lion, tiger. Which country gifted the status of liberty to the USA? France, UK, Germany. What is H2O? Salt, water, hydrogen. How many legs does a spider have? 6, 8, 10. What is the hardest natural substance? Diamond, gold, steel. Who painted the Mona Lisa? Who painted the Mona Lisa? Pablo Picasso, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo. Michelangelo. Which is the largest planet in our solar system? Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune. In which state is the Grand Canyon located? California, Arizona, Nevada. What is the boiling point of water wine? What is the boiling point of water in What is the boiling point of water in Celsius? 100 degrees centigrade, 90 degrees centigrade, 120 degrees centigrade. What is the human body largest organ? Liver, skin, liver, skin, heart. Who was the first man of the moon? Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, Yuri Gagarin. What is the capital of Canada? Toronto, Vancouver, Ottawa. Which bird is known for the imitating sound? Parrot, sparrow, owl. What is the main in What is the main ingredient in guacamole? Tomato, avocado, cucumber. Which country is famous for the Eiffel Tower? Italy, Germany, France. What is the chemical symbol of gold? Ag, Au, Go. Which planet has rings? Venus, Saturn, Mars. What language is primarily spoken in Brazil? Spanish, Portuguese, French. How many stars are on the American flags? 50, 50, 51, 48. Who discovered gravity? Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, Galileo. What is the freezing point of water in Fahrenheit? 32, 32 F, 0 degree F, 32 degree F, 0 degree F, 100 degree F. What is the largest mammal? What is the largest mammal? Elephant, blue whale, giraffe. What is the capital of Italy? Venice, Rome, Milan. Which US state is known as Sunshine State? California, Texas, Florida. Who wrote the Harry Potter series? J.R.R. Tolkien, J.K. Rowling, Suzanne Collins. What is the name of closest star of Earth? Alpha Centauri, Sun, Sirius. What organ pumps blood in the body? Brain, heart, lungs. What is the tallest animal in the world? What is the tallest element in the world? Elephant, giraffe, kangaroo. Which month has 38 days every year? February, June, April. Which instrument has black and white keys? Guitar, violin, piano. What does a thermometer measure? What does a thermometer measure? Pressure, temperature, wind. What does bees produce? Butter, milk, honey. Who was the first US president? Thomas. Who was the first US president? Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. What shape is a stop sign? Circle, triangle, octagon. Which color do you get by mixing red and white? Pink, orange, purple. How many hours are there in the day? 24, 12, 48. Which animal is known Which animal is known for changing its color? Snake, chameleon, frog. What is the capital of Texas? Houston, Austin, Dallas. How many teeth does an adult human usually have? 30, 28, 32.
Wow.